bring joy in by the hate that you say.
Yes.
Then you can just imagine where the conversation gets to go by the beckoning of your own.
Yes.
The conversation is now wrapped in love because you said so. How profound that gets to be. So, we've been having a day, all right? We had soapbox. They did some music from the 1960s. Come on now. Then we had a panel discussion talking about Drew Jordan giving a hidden figure their due flowers. Then we were upstairs meditating up to the wazoo. My third eye is open. Now we are down here having another conversation about building the theater of the future, this letter to the future, this idea of the future happening now. And we're going to be guided by some fierce, phenomenal, artistic vessels who have been anointed, who will bless us with their intellect, with their ideas, with their gifts, and with their imagination. And wanting to say that that's not where the night ends, it's where it also begins. There will be a Black trans liberation pageant that will take over the whole first floor of this space, guided by Queen Jean and her siblings. Yes. Because if we're going to learn how to love ourselves, we've got to learn how to love all of who we are as a community. We've got to learn how to break all the barriers as a community. We've got to learn how to do all the things as a community. So, with that being said, I want to give it over to Star to bless the room. I mean, because NBT didn't want this panel to start. We thought, working with Avenue Armory, we need art to start. Yeah. So we want to bless this place with art, and then Steven, Nona, Mahogany, and my sister queen, Sade.
Good evening, everyone. Oh. Yes, I am purely honored and delighted and filled with joy and gratitude to be here with all of you, to be in this space, celebrating, lifting up, acknowledging the beautiful, creative, and communal contributions that have laid the pathway for me to be here right now. So I am just full of gratitude. I had the honor of being given or sent a copy of Dr. Teer's Letter to the Future when I was asked to be here. And as I was reading it, I was like, wow, there was lots of echoes or hollers out that I didn't know I had received when I wrote this piece called Wishing Tree, which is my prayer for us for the future. So I ask you all to open your hearts and settle your spirits and pray with me as we move through this song. Yes? Bless. Thank y'all. give up. Long time coming round to we. Freedom calling, freedom warning. There will always be more.
Hey everyone, come on up. Ms. Hendryx. How's everybody doing? Star. Yo. Don't you just want to finish up and go to bed? I mean, I love your voice. I heard you in sound check and I was just mesmerized. Just thank you for blessing us with such beautiful harmonies. Because art is a healer, right? Art is a healer.
Yes, it is.
And so, my name is Steven G. Fullwood, and I am the moderator for today's discussion. I came to NBT through a number of ways, but primarily as an archivist, working with the NBT archives. I'm an archivist by training, and I can tell you, Black folks have done everything, everywhere, already. You're just finding out. So when I say this part, then I want you to say, I'm just finding out, okay? Black folks everywhere have done everything, and what?
We're just finding out.
Okay, you hold that in soft brackets for the rest of your life and you're gonna be okay. Okay? We're gonna get our conversation started with a few things. I wanted to, one, remind us that our beautiful panelists, our amazing, talented panelists, their bios are in this program. I was all set to read the bios, but I'm so excited about this conversation, I just want to jump right in. So let me sit down. And so, as Jonathan said, the name of this particular event, Letters to the Future, is really inspired by a letter by Dr. Barbara Ann Teer that she wrote in 1991 called Letter to the Future. And she was writing to folks in 2000. Now, we are 32 years out from this letter, right? And I think it's a really interesting letter. I think it's, in a way, speaks to how I understand Black culture. I understand Black culture in a circular way. I don't think of it as linear. I don't think of the promised land over here. I think the promised land is here. I think that we are just learning about it. We're just figuring it out. I think we have everything we need. We just have to activate it. And in spaces like this, we are reminded about what it takes to activate it. And so if you give me just 1 second. Throughout the conversation, I'm going to be reading parts of the letter as a way to sort of engage conversation. This is a conversation, good people, so I just won't be answering. You can ask other questions as well, okay? All righty. I want to thank Sade and Jonathan, who I adore, and I'm grateful that they find some meaning in the work that I do. I want to thank my wonderful panelists and all of the playwrights, Frederica Teer, all the Faisons. All the Faisons. Ooh, they still making Faisons, too. The theater technicians, actors, administrative staff, and everyone involved in this building, including the people who clean up after all of us, you know? And mostly I want to thank Dr. Barbara Ann Teer because I love me some Black women. Black women, y'all, come on out. Just thank you for your work. Because I love it when people decide that they see a need and they just do it. They're not waiting for anyone to give them permission to do it. They just show up, right? They do that work. So I start that off by saying that with this particular letter, which I find really fascinating, excuse me for 1 second. I find the letter fascinating because it moves us into a space where we've already read this letter before. We read it when Frederick Douglass wrote it. We read this letter before. We've read this letter throughout the whole moment that we're in terms of Black culture in the US. And so I want to start out by saying what Barbara has said, Dr. Teer. October 23rd, 1991, for Crossroads Theater. Letter to the Future. It is with great love and respect that I write this letter to the future for all the people of color in the world. I must admit that I have a special affinity for people of African descent. It is with gratitude and apologies. It is with gratitude and humility that I speak to all human beings of African descent. And so, this part right here. Y'all listen? Listen right here. As I prepare this letter for the people living in the year 2000, I wonder if we ever transformed what I call the 3/5 of a man discourse. I wonder if we ever transformed the poor, lowly, downtrodden, pitiful, sad, oppressed, and underprivileged, and culturally deprived discourse. I wonder if we have ever evolved into a higher human being than those Black people living on Earth in 1991. I wonder if you've been able to rise above and beyond distrust, fear, resentment, and resignation. So I'm going to start with Ms. Hendryx, who I spoke with on the phone. All the panelists have read the letters, and I have questions for them, but when we spoke very briefly, and you talked about we were saying you wanted to comment on the last 4 to 5 years, I want to know how you locate yourself in this letter, in the work that you do, and how you hear Dr. Teer's questions.
I'm actually really struck by the fact of the space that we're in. And I'm always struck by these spaces in this particular building, whenever I enter it. And each time I've entered it, it's been with people who've been changing the energy of it. And this, to me, is yet another opportunity to change the energy of this building, to bring the energy of Dr. Teer from where she came from to here. As I look at the images in the room, that's what, because it struck me as, you know, when I knew that it was going to be here, when I knew we were going to talk about Dr. Teer's letter, that part of it has been fulfilled. Part of it has not been fulfilled. And part of it has been fulfilled from people coming together, wanting to uplift each other. And part of it has not been fulfilled because people, of all people, and I'm talking about all people, have not lived up to this letter. So as I think about how it locates in me today, it locates in me today that someone who I knew, someone who I spent time with, that, as you said, had an idea, had an imagined a space and created it, because that is what we do. That is what we've had to do from the time prior to and the time specifically that we were chained in the bottom of boats. We had to imagine a future. And that's what the letter, the vision, land of vision for me and Dr. Teer's other writing is that the ability to imagine when you're in, when you don't have physical freedom to imagine freedom, right? So that's how that locates in me today.
Thank you. So for Sade, who I think, I'm always saying Sade, but I think it's Sade. And I see her face after I say it, and I'm like, I think I got it wrong. But I wanted to ask you, and it sounds deceptively simple to say, where do you locate yourself in your mother's work as a daughter, as someone who witnessed what my friend calls behind the counter talk, but also as a CEO, leading us into the new space, leading us into new spaces, new imaginative spaces. Black theater is the longest holding, it's been holding our story forever, right? Other than oral history. It's been Black theater. That's been the place of imagination. And so where do you locate yourself in this letter and in this work?
First I have to say, is this not on? Can you hear me?
Take this one.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Nona. First thing I want to say is my mother would be so happy today because she loves a birthday party and nobody ever threw her birthday party. So she was just like, she would throw everybody else a birthday. She'd take us out of school like it was a holiday on our birthday. And as hard as NBT's team, Jonathan, Mandisa have worked on this day. This is Dr. Teer in the sky being like, and a birthday, and it's gonna end in a parade, and it's gonna be black, and it's gonna be blackity black black, and Star's gonna sing her ass off, and she's gonna create an alchemy where everybody's just gonna be listening to people talking about my shit. So we got you. That's real. And I also think that we should all just get into the practice of learning how to thank Black women for their service. Whether you know what their service is, we are all sitting within that. I have a strange, obviously, relationship with finding myself within the context of her work, because I talk to her every day for the last 15 years, and she has passed on to the other side. She's very chatty. She's very clear. And the thing that she's the clearest about is that it's not about her.
Word.
So it's an odd question because she did not want to be on the pedestal. She did not want to be the guru. She wanted to be a vessel to be able to reflect back the God inside of us, how to learn to love ourselves more deeply, because she knew that through the science and secret of soul, we could unleash the liberatory power of our ancestors to create the future, the unimagined future, where all things were possible. And that's what the letter is about. It is this beautiful act of service to another Black theater, Crossroads Theater, that was going through a capital project themselves in 1991. And they had the awesome idea to create a time capsule. And they asked theater practitioners, Black theater practitioners, and Crossroads is in Newark, New Jersey, to write letters to the future. And it was excavated a few years ago and given to me back as a gift. So I would just say, where I find myself within the work or the question that you're asking, Steven, is I find myself as she started, a humble servant and vessel to the unfinished work of our ancestors. And if you can divinely listen, the seeds are planted already for our bloom.
Correct.
And so I spend so much of my time with her work, with the work of the National Black Theater, with the artists that we get the tremendous privilege of supporting, watering seeds that have been planted for generations before, and finding new and innovative ways to bloom.
Ooh, thank you. Thank you so much. So, Mahogany, I'm gonna ask you a different question.
It's tough to hold up.
But it's about your work as a poet. And when I was sitting listening to the last panel with Jonathan and Ebony, it occurred to me that Black theater can take many forms, and it feels like a living, breathing poet. So it's that space where you are talking about what's happening, but also imagining what could happen. And I was thinking about your work and thinking about something you told me that you wanted to do before we came on stage. You going to read? Yeah, so I'd love for you to do that.
Love it. I would like to say that while I am a poet, I am officially a playwright now. So I'm very excited. And I know it would not have been possible had it not been for the National Black Theater. I've been working alongside Jonathan McCrory and the team. And so now I think just in those moments where you're sitting beside family and you say, oh, I don't know all the language, I'm not sure I can do that. There's always someone that's on that stage saying, you could do that. Yeah. Just like this, and just pointing the way. And so somehow my book, novel in verse, became a play that premiered at Steppenwolf and will be coming to New York City next year. So thinking about, and sorry, I'm a little disheveled because Sister Star had me crying. I was weeping, but like with all the goodness, it felt very sacred and very holy, and it's of no mistake that we're here together. I believe Dr. Teer is right here, front seat, so this is because of her. I know who I am because I believe it. The breath in my chest insistent in its choice. The skin that I'm in, the bones and blood and veins it carries like a promise. Have you witnessed the ocean? Moving with so much gust and life, have you witnessed the river? Still waters bubbling, the rebirth of school. Have you witnessed your own body becoming its own country of water, moving against the tide of a world so heartbreaking, it's forgotten its own voice? Be still, friend. Be still. Be kind to yourself in the gift of stillness. I know who I am because I believe it. I know who I believe, in threes we will come. A drip of water moving against a boulder. Water slow and steady can turn rock into a pebble, like anxiety, like self-doubt, smaller until gone. Let your love for yourself be the water, be the rise, be the mist. Let you be. I know who I am because I believe it. I believe I am my mother's daughter. I believe I am my grandmother's prayers. I believe I am my great-grandmother's backbone revealed. I am because I believe so. I am because a black woman believed in me. What a continent I became. What a country of water I be. I flow and fluid and rise and ebb, and I believe in me. I am not wrong. I am wronged. In this skin I've reclaimed from the trap of this country's tourniquet, only to find the sweet solace is a riverbed. Its mud beckons me closer to its silt. I believe in the air as much as I believe in the fire.
Yes.
I believe in the fire as much as the water consumes. I believe in a higher source, energetic and wise. I believe in my ability to thrive. This body is a good thing. Turning 2 miles walked over a bridge into a family's meal. Creating poems that become cashier's checks, dentist bills, and rent. I've 3 holes in my teeth and a nation that pretends I didn't almost die for it to survive. I am still here. I am still here, and like the ocean, full of salt and shells, full of ship remnants and noble ones, I bleed, and the sand grieves. I be because someone survived for me to be here today, breathing this almost air, marching for cleaner belongings. My front seat beneath the deadening stars is still a seat, is still a ground, is still a home that I can pronounce my given name, to write amongst the forgotten names, the taken and the ignored. But today, there are no tombstones. Today, there is no true death, only life, only life. Only a song of the living, maybe even a belief system with water as its minister. I am water. I dive into my own currents. I dress my dreams in the satin breath of my ancestors. I know who I am. I know who I am because I believe it. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're just going to make us live in that fictional space that where June Jordan had those, every place had a window and a door. You open up all those windows. Thank you for that beautiful poem. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm going to read a little bit more of the letter, and we're going to hopefully respond to it. And it's something that I thought was really remarkable. Our theaters must reflect this truth. They must first and foremost teach people what it means to be human, teach people how to love themselves, how to honor themselves. We must learn what is the right action and why it is so important to do unto others as we would do unto, I think this is a typo. Why it is so important to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Sorry, it wasn't a typo, it was just me. I'm thinking about being here at the Armory as opposed to in Harlem right now with this work. something that was said in the previous panel around being everywhere. And that's where I think it's necessary for us to kind of think about when you leave this place, you have taken part in this particular event. You came here of your own volition. You came here to share in these stories. And now you have these stories. And I think that we're all really responsible for what we do. And when I think about the women on this stage, I've read their work or I've listened to their work. Let me tell you, I love her to pieces. I love Nona Hendryx. I just need a witness, right? My godfather told me today, he goes, tell Nona Hendryx I'm her biggest fan. I said, I'm not saying that because I'm her biggest fan. But I was listening to Skin Diver, her 1989 album. Have you heard it? Oh, goodness. And it's such a it's so revelatory. It's a beautiful piece of work. And I will put it right side next to the work that you do, Mahogany, and work that you do, Sade. And how it offered me as a listener breath. I would share with people and say, listen to women who fly. Oh my goodness. You know, but I'm digressing just a bit because I'm in love with Nona Hendryx. And that is, when we leave this place, what are the kinds of things you, the three of you, want this group of people? Now I know this is like preaching to the choir in some cases, but you can't ever get enough of good love, good information, be affirmed. You can't get enough of it because you just don't live in this room. You know, we all live in the world and we all come with our stories. I'm going to go back to Mahogany. What do you want to share with us? What would you like for people to take from this experience, learning about the National Black Theater, learning about the wonderful Dr. Barbara Ann Teer? Because even though the place, we call it hidden conversations, we're constantly talking. And also when people go, hidden this, hidden that, I go, no, I'm talking about it. I know other people talking about it. So it's really about what you want to talk about, really, and what you value. So, Mahogany?
I'd just like to say that I think the most understated thing is that we need to show up for each other in real time. Not when we are doing the crowdsourcing because something has to be paid, not when we are fundraising. We need to show up for Nona every day because Nona is creating art to save us every day. We need to show up for the National Black Theater every day because whether or not that space was open, the voices were still saving us every day. So not just waiting when the times are rough or when you need help, but assuring that you are part of the community to make, I'm picking up this, I'm taking this there, oh, you need me there? The first thing I asked Nona when I saw her, what are you working on? How can I help? Yes. I'm not trying to bring in no TV show, The New Amsterdam, but it's revolutionary just to come into a conversation with how can I help? How can I help? Because I'm certain me helping you is going to help all of us, right? So just that one note of just being available to the person, because the person is also the people. And the people are more than a building. The people are here because Dr. Teer believed so. So we need to show up for the thought. We need to show up for the conversation, not just when times are rough or when we need something.
Thank you. Love that. Love that.
I would just say, from today and for always, Black people just take up space. Just take up space. And I have to thank Rebecca, because Rebecca from Park Avenue Armory has let us take up all the damn space. We're in every damn room. Like, some rooms don't even have much in it, but we in it. You know, like, just the expansiveness of Blackness. Whether it is sparse, whether it is rhythmic, whether it is scientific, whether it is Afrofuturistic. It is not about our song or just our dance. It is not just about our story. It's about the expansive, every single color and blackness exists in the body of a black person, so we should be everywhere. And we should be comfortable everywhere. And it's a testament to the alchemy of the science and secret of soul that in a place that holds stories that would have us not exist, that we are invited in to take up space, and that we are fearless enough to do so. And so what I want for everybody when they leave here to know how expansive blackness is. If you haven't gone and taken your aura photo, like, you get to see all of what you're occupying. It is not just this vessel. It is just not this body. It is just so expansive. And I think that one of the things in the letter it starts out with is really that invitation to being possible when everyone said that our existence is impossible, and that when Dr. Teer designed National Black Theater, she was crazy in a lot of ways, but but it was subversive, right? It was the birth of the Black Arts Movement, so she was a nationalist, but she was also like, this is the National Black Theater, right? This is, we be acting, and so, but the thing is, she wanted to take up space. This was the National Black Theater, even though it was in like one loft on 125th Street. And then when she could, she bought a city block because we should take up space. And now that we're itinerant building a new city block, we are taking up space, and we are everywhere. And she thought that the National Black Theater should be on every corner of every city, in every state, and that if there was a church and a liquor store, there should be a theater. And so tell your stories, take up space authentically, complicate the narrative, do it all, because we, like they say, your crown has already been paid for. It has already been paved. Clap for your damn self and take up space.
Come on, poet.
Yes.
Mic drop, poet. That's a 10. 10.
Word.
Wow. I don't know, what am I supposed to say? You are so your mother. She is coming right on through, and that's one of the beautiful things about this particular relationship with you and Jonathan and the National Black Theater, that I was there and I'm here, and she was there and she's here in you. And, it's going to make me cry because it's such a beautiful thing that, many of the people that I knew, I do know their children, and I know their children's children. And, seeing the things that they're doing in the world is just, they are their parents' children, right? And that what you are doing today with the National Black Theater, you are that letter. You are a living embodiment, and your brother, you are that letter. The National Black Theater is that letter. All of the things that she was seeing and envisioning and wanting to be and hoping to be, they are. They exist, right? And so that for me is just, you mentioned the song Women Who Fly. That is Dr. Teer, is a woman who could fly, and because of her imagination, right? And some of the things that she wanted to do, and you said she was crazy, and I'm sure a lot of other people said, she's crazy. But, like a fox, just really a visionary. And just, it's the same as like, if you only have X, Y, and Z to make a meal, you make a meal. And you make it with love, and you make it with intention, and you intend to feed not only yourself, but others, right? And that, her service as a being to a community, to create a place that for people, and I don't think she said only people of color, only black people could come in, right? It was a space to explore yourself, explore your consciousness, explore your talent, explore your imagination. Imagination, that truly is the thing that I hold on to as I think about Dr. Teer. And she had just one of the most amazing smiles. Oh, yeah. It just was incredible. And I remember sitting in the National Black Theater with Patty, with Sarah, with Verda Williams, who was on Positively Black. And we were doing, your mother allowed us to be on a stage like this and be interviewed in the space because we needed a space to be in to do this. And it was a wonderful conversation. And there weren't many people there, but your mother was there, and she was sitting down front, right? And that is just so clear in my memory, and the smile on her face, right? It was just, so I've traveled off into another world, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
I lost your question, but I would like for people to take with them the lyric or the line or the thought of Women Who Fly. And it's, I'm as hard as a rock, but my heart won't stop keeping time. And these walls that I build, love can climb. I'm so easily led, thought goes to my head like sweet wine. And I honestly hate when the winner's fate isn't mine. Women who fly don't have this problem. Women who dream don't stay too long. Women who fly climb mountains. Women who fly have wings of their own. Don't give me wings and take away my sky. Yo. That's what I'd like for you to take with you. Yeah.
I've been given the wrap-up sign like maybe 5 minutes ago, but I just want to thank Mahogany L, Browne, Sade Lythcott, Nona Hendryx, and all of you for coming today. And the last thing I want to say is that Black was never exclusionary, Blackness is never exclusionary, and that we are all implicated in building the better world. Yes. Take good care of yourselves. Yeah.